Now it takes me great pleasure to introduce an individual that I've known for some time. I Facebooked this fellow from parts of the world that I don't even know the names of. The person I know more than anything is his mother, who knows a lot about planting trees. Now with that, Curt, come on up here and say a few words. He's got a little jet lag problem, but I think he can handle it.
Okay, everybody hear me okay? Yes. All right. So I think a lot of you actually know me, and my first time here was 5 years ago. I'm Curt. I'm head of SME in Nueva. And I moved to Guatemala when I was 21 years old. And I had this idea that if we put together some really, really great ideas with really, really hard work, we could make a difference in the lives of some of the world's poorest people. And now I'm here and I'm 31. I'll be finishing up 10 years in a couple months of time in Guatemala. And I still really believe that. I think that we can make a huge difference in some of the world's biggest problems, and Rotary can make a big difference in some of the world's biggest problems. Beginning of this thing is going to be a little bit interactive because I want to make sure that everybody is fully distracted from lunch for a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 10, and I want everybody to thump on the table. Can you all do that? Yeah? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. No, just at 10. So okay, we'll get there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just one time. All right, and this is the difficult part of the presentation. I promise I'll only do one part that's actually really difficult. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Every 10 seconds on this planet, a kid dies due to complications from malnutrition. It's one of the easiest things to fix and prevent, and yet that's the way that the world works. These big kids that I showed you were 3 kids that actually made it. They were found by a Rotary-backed clinic in rural Guatemala that do some great work by some Rotarians in South Dakota. Finds about 100 kids a year, and the worst case is malnutrition, and brings them back to life. I think you all deserve a huge round of applause for being part of an organization that does that. We got one little prop. Now, the thing that these people use to bring these kids back to life is really simple. Y'all know Pedialyte? Okay, Pedialyte has this stuff in it called zinc, which is really important. And they also have the stuff, protein. That's the other big piece. These are the 2 things that can make the differences between the first photos that we saw and the second photos that we saw. Now everybody might be asking, Curt, you work with corn farmers, what does this have to do with that? Why are we talking about these things? And the story is incredibly closely linked. So this is Juana and her daughter Julia. These are 2 of the people that we work with in our program, thanks to 3 different global grants from Rotary. And Juana's big hope is that Julia is going to make it through high school someday and get a nice job off the farm and actually have an easier life for herself. But the problem is, Julia is malnourished. And the big reason is because she's eating tortillas 3 times a day. You couldn't raise animals off of just straight corn 3 times a day, and you can't raise people off of pizza. But it's all that they can afford. Chronic malnutrition leads 130 million people around the world to be stuck in poverty to have a statistically far higher chance of dropping out of school and a way higher disease burden. And the reason comes down to this really simple economic stat. If you had to choose between feeding your whole family with 40 tortillas or your kid with 1 egg, and they're the same price, which they are, which would you do? 2 spoonfuls of beans, 40 tortillas, which would you do? And if you look at the world level, it's the same problem. The countries with the highest levels of malnutrition around the world end up being the countries with some of the highest rates of corn consumption. And that leads to 3 million deaths per year and 130 million kids that are stunted. So the answer, what if we just made the corn actually have the nutrients that kids need? Next interactive part, here's the question. Which one of these 2 ears of corn has the zinc and protein that kids need? If you can't tell, nope. One does and one doesn't. One's DeKalb and one's ours. And so that's a really cool thing. The whole point behind what we're working on right now at Semilla Nueva is corn that actually provides the nutrients kids need without seeing a big difference, without having to change them to do anything different. There we go. So Fortaleza is the seed brand that we worked on over the last 5 years in collaboration with Rotary. 2.5 times the quality protein and 50% higher levels of zinc. But we don't market it as more nutritious. What we've learned over the 5 years that we've been working with farmers is that what they care about is their bottom line. All farmers do. And so if we can give them something that increases their bottom line, it not only helps them and their families get out of poverty, but it changes the corn that they eat, and it changes what all of the other people down the market chain eat as well. The model is really simple. Farmers plant our seed. They eat all the corn that they produce just like they normally would 3 times a day, and they sell it to the markets. And that changes behavior, or changes the diets across the whole country. All we got to do is figure out how we can get more farmers to plant more seed. Farmers are pretty similar around the world. They have a couple really big questions. 1, will I make more money? 2, does it taste different? Is anybody going to not want it because of that? And 3, where can I get it? And what we've been working on over the last 5 years is solving all of those different problems. These new seeds, compared to the first seeds that were in Guatemala when we first started, can increase farmers' yields by 13%, even though the costs go down 25%. That's a difference of $160, which can be the difference between putting a kid through school for an entire year and not. They also taste better, which is a big, big advantage. The protein quality actually makes the tortillas softer, and in blind taste tests, farmers prefer that. And lastly, these tortillas and the seed is now in 100 stores. When you're using a normal NGO model, you can only scale based on paying for more and more people to get to more and more communities. By working through a commercial model, we include the price of distributors and stores into the pricing model, meaning that we can scale just as quickly as there's demand. All right, these are results of the current global grant that we have right now. We started getting seed to farmers for free in 2016. In 2017, we started piloting sales. And in this year, all of the seed that's gone out has been sold. Meaning we're actually both arriving to sustainability and scalability. Okay, this is the fun part. All right, so this is that right there. 1,400 bags of seed went out this year, sold commercially to date as of this week. That is 14 million pounds of corn that are going to get produced in Guatemala. 300 semi-truckloads. My question to everybody here, and I don't have very much time, so I'm going to take 3 really, really quick guesses. That corn is the equivalent of adding how many of these and how many of these to the diet? 3 guesses. You guys gotta help me out. We got 1 million. We got 1,000. Anybody else? Half a million. No, it's actually pretty nuts. So in terms of these bottles of Pedialyte, which go for $5 in Walmart, I just bought one because they wouldn't actually go through the airplane. 9.8 million Pedialytes are going to the Guatemalan diet. 14 million protein bars. You take that with the Walmart price on both of those items, and that is $54 million worth of nutrition coming off of a grant that was $50,000 over the last 12 months. So here's what we want to do. I've spent the last 10 years of my life slaving away trying to figure out a way that we can make a huge dent in poverty and malnutrition in some of the places that need it the most. Right now, we'll be improving the daily diets of over 140,000 people this year. And the goal is, how do we make it even bigger? We want to be doubling how much corn we put out every single year. And on top of that, we want to be reaching a lot more people. Breaking 1 million people having their daily diets have enough zinc and protein by 2022. In the process, and I think this is the genius of the last big Rotary Global grant, we'll sell enough seed that 70% of our costs will be covered by sales, meaning our need for donations goes down while our impact is almost doubling every single year. This has been a huge effort, and it started here. Our first grant in Semilla Nueva in the world came from a Rotary Global grant that this district led. And it was 5 years ago, on basically this day, when Boise Southwest stood up after my very first presentation, put in the last donations, and we actually launched the sucker. Half a decade of work, and this is where we are right now. I think, I'm going to start, we'll get to the clapping, don't worry. I want to go bigger. I think that most development projects around the world fail. You go to Kenya, you go to Uganda, you follow any of these Rotary trips anywhere, and you find these rusted signs of projects that were supposed to do a lot of things and didn't end up actually happening. We have poured ourselves into making this one that actually can grow, that can reach that next level, that can be both sustainable and scalable. And we want to take it to the next level. So we're going after right now the biggest global grant that's ever been seen in the history of Guatemala. We're trying to get every single Guatemalan club involved so that it's not something that's led by us, but it's led by them. And actually reaching the entire country with this idea to set us up for expanding to the region and eventually the rest of the world. That all started here, that little seed. And so what I really need is your guys' help. We need to raise $170,000 in club funds, which is incredibly ambitious. We've set about a year as our target to do that. And we want to work with you guys to make Idaho the lead district. We know we're going to need more districts. We know we're going to need all of Guatemala. But I think that this could be something that shows that international development can work, that some of the biggest problems can be tackled, and that we at Rotary can lead the way. Thank you all. Now I was told I did 15 minutes, and I ran like crazy to make sure I have a few minutes for questions and answers, because that's my favorite part. Are there any questions?
Where do you get the seeds, Curt?
Where do we get the seed? So this is, we're making hybrids now, because it's higher yielding for the farmers, it's commercially what's needed. So we've actually had to hire, we poached a bunch of ex-Monsanto and Pioneer people, and we're producing all the seeds locally. So these are non-GMO, which is, for some people that's an issue. I think GMOs are actually really great. But we produce all the seeds locally in country ourselves. And so it's actually creating a bunch of jobs that way.
Does anyone have a patent on the seeds? Is this public domain?
It's all public domain. And for me, that's the whole point. I mean, we're not in this, we'll never make money on this thing. The only thing I really want is for us to actually cover our costs. If we can do that and become more sustainable, that's the win, and reach more and more people. But the whole idea is, this technology exists, and the question is, how do we show it working well enough that it starts getting used by more and more people? At the end of the day, if all the seeds sold in Africa by little seed companies as well as Monsanto and Pioneer are more nutritious, we could change the daily diets of 900 million people. That's what's at stake. And the question is, how can we be the first organization that shows that we're at scale? That's what we're trying to do. So no patents, it's open to anybody. Other questions? Terry?
What's the size, average size farm that one family operates?
3 acres. Yep, so imagine putting a kid through high school with 3 acres. Yep. That feeds them and they'll hold on to about 2,000 pounds of corn for their family consumption and sell between 9 and 20,000 depending on how high their yields are to the market, where then it gets eaten by the poorest worker. And so we're not only changing, every bag of seed we sell isn't just changing that family's daily diet, it's changing 60 people's daily diet down the chain. All of the industry uses yellow imported stuff in the United States. The white corn they produce is all wheat vegetable. So it's 100% of the impact that we create goes to kids and people eating better.
The first slide of that was 2012 minutes ago. How many do you
At least 260.
Curt, repeat the question.
Yo, sorry, the question was, our original slides that we were in 5 communities 5 years ago, what are we in now? And looking at the map in my head, it's about 260, although now it's done by sales regions instead of by village. I mean, it's a commercial network that's covering about half the country. And our goal is to get to the whole country and build demand so that everybody's using this. But it's a whole lot of expansion.
How do you plan to use the grant?
Grant money is going to be used for production, sales, and marketing. And basically, whenever we sell seed, we'll make some money back and reinvest that in rotating fund to be able to produce more seed, market more seed. And the goal is to get to the point that by that 2022 mark, where we're changing the diets of 1 million people, 70% of those costs are covered by revenue from the previous year. So it's all going to be plowed right back in. And since we're a registered nonprofit, any extra money that ever comes out, if we ever do break even, will be put straight into R&D to come up with better seeds.
Is the crop that they produce plantable? I mean, do they produce their own seed, or do you always have to buy seed later?
Great question. So the question is, do people have to re-buy seed every year, or can they replant this stuff? 2 years ago, we did a huge pilot of seed that could be planted again, but the problem with all open pollinated varieties is your yield ceiling is a little bit lower. It's actually significantly lower. And so farmers said, if I have to choose between having something that's low yielding and I can replant and buying seed every year, they do the same decision that virtually every American farmer does, and they say, I'll buy it every year because I can make more off the extra yield, rather than saving it. We offer both options, but it's over 95% of our hybrids.